This is 5 on your side at 6. Focused on you.
It is the call you never want to get as a chief or a parent.
The Lake St. Louis police chief remembers the moment he learned 3 of his officers were seriously hurt in the line of duty. The 3 were hit by a car on Interstate 70 last month. In all, 5 officers were sent to the hospital, along with a 2-year-old child and a canine officer. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Ann Allred. The driver accused of hitting them faces DWI charges. Mercedes McKay sat down with the Lake St. Louis police chief to see how his officers are recovering.
It's a difficult time. Aside from just the logistics, it's a difficult emotional time too.
In a department of only 37 sworn officers, Lake St. Louis Police Chief Chris DiGiuseppe says having 3 off the streets is a big deal.
It is the call you never want to get as a chief or a parent or whatnot. Yeah, it's a high anxiety call.
That call came to Chief DiGiuseppe in the middle of the night on March 29th when 3 of his officers were out with 2 St. Charles County officers on a traffic stop.
We had a vehicle that struck one of our vehicles, which pushed that into several police officers that were outside of the vehicle.
Nathan Livingston, Kyle Case, Benjamin Fisher, and his canine officer were all hospitalized with serious injuries. Now, almost 2 weeks later, all of them are on the mend.
They're doing good. They're doing really good. Hopefully we're on our way to full recovery for everybody.
Officer Fisher and his canine were reunited days after the accident and are home recovering. Officer Case is at a rehab facility and could be released later this month. Officer Livingston is still in the ICU with a head injury, and after being unconscious for weeks, he finally spoke to his family on Easter Sunday.
That's a very positive sign. We're very excited about it.
This is just some of the many donations the Lake St. Louis Police Department has received over the past several weeks. The chief telling me it's not only helped the department with their healing process, but the families of the officers too.
When they have all that support, it really gets them through it, and we couldn't be more appreciative to everybody that stepped up.
While they anxiously wait for their brothers in blue to join them in uniform once again, they're grateful for the community they serve.
We couldn't do it without you.
In Lake St. Louis, Mercedes McKay, 5 on your side.
The chief isn't sure when the 3 officers will be back to work. He says they are taking it day by day, and he wanted to thank the medical team that is working with the officers, as well as the Lake St. Louis mayor and the city for making sure all of the department's needs are met.
A man is in police custody after investigators say he stole a tractor trailer leading to a chase on I-64. The big rig was stolen out of Minnesota. Troopers spotted the truck on eastbound I-64 east of O'Fallon. Police say it ended about an hour ago in Town and Country when the driver stopped on Mason Road near Mason Ridge Elementary. The driver got out of the truck and ran, but was taken into custody a short time later. No one, we're told, was hurt. Chicago will host the 2024 Democratic National Convention. President Biden called Governor J.B. Pritzker to deliver the news this morning. Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, has more on what the decision means for Illinois. Mark.
It's a big deal, Mike. Chicago beat out other Democratic strongholds and swing states for the grand stage that can make or break presidential ambitions. That breaks a trend for each of the presidential election years dating back to 2008, where the DNC was in one of those pivotal swing states each year.
You know, I think 50 years ago, it mattered picking a city in a swing state in order to rev up the get out the vote effort, in July or August before a November election. But, these days, what matters is being able to run a great convention, put on a show that everybody around the country will see.
What will the winning message sound like?
Well, it'll sound like first the nomination of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the values that they have demonstrated in the White House.
You might have heard President Biden's remarks responding to Al Roker, sort of in jest, I suppose, at the Easter egg roll, but he doesn't seem all that sure he's actually running. You seem more confident he's running than he is.
There are legal prohibitions from him announcing that he's running until the moment that he is actually a candidate for re-election. And so I think he's trying to be very, very careful. But I think he's confident not only that he's going to run, but that he'll win.
Is it wise to enter 2024 without a backup plan in case President Biden doesn't run for some reason?
I think that we have any number of great people to run if the president chooses not to run, but I suspect that he would choose to run, and I fully support his re-election campaign.
Who makes that list?
Oh, I mean, we got lots of great folks, not me. I'm not running. But there are great folks.
Wait, this is a rare moment.
President to, we got great governors in the state, some of whom I actually served with in the House, to my own governor. I mean, there's lots of folks who could be running. But frankly, if President Biden chooses to run for re-election, then we will support him.
You don't often see a senator take their name out of the running for president, but Senator Tammy Duckworth just did that. Republicans will hold their convention in Wisconsin, but presidential hopefuls may still pay Illinois a visit as well. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis will speak in Peoria next month. He's someone who Pritzker has clashed with over classroom curriculum. Both men seem to have their own designs to try and shape that presidential platform, whether they're on it or not.
BJC Healthcare is working to keep guns out of the hands of young children. At least 163 St. Louis area kids were hurt by gunfire in 2022 alone. The hospital's expanding its No Questions Asked gun lock program to 20 more locations. They have a kiosk in their emergency room with the pre-packaged locks and information on how to use them. Today, 5 on Your Side talked to Karen Cloyd with Women's Voices for Social Justice, who also provides these locks. She's glad to see the mission being supported on a larger scale.
I was overjoyed to hear about it. I'm really glad that a organization like BJC, which is so prevalent in our community and elsewhere, is stepping up to take care of that for us. I mean, we're just a very small part of the gun storage safety people involved in St. Louis area.
The hospital's program started in 2021 and has since given out more than 5,000 free gun locks. 4 years ago this week, a woman named Betty Alexander disappeared in Sullivan, Missouri. Her family, especially her daughter, Tanya Miller, are still searching and hoping for her safe return.
Our Justina Coronel has been reporting on this case from the very beginning, and she joined us in studio with the very latest. Justina.
Yeah, Mike and Ann. So since our first interview in 2019, Tanya Miller tells me she's always felt like something went terribly wrong. She said her mom didn't drive or use a cell phone, so she wouldn't just wander away from her home. But now, 4 years later, she still has very little clues on what happened to her mom.
The sights and sounds of spring surround Tanya Miller. For her, it's a sign of another season going by.
Especially like Easter. That was our first holiday without her.
It's been a long 1,460 days as Miller searches for her mom, Betty Alexander.
I'm afraid that it's just going to become gold and we'll never advance.
4 years ago, on April 10, 2019, Alexander disappeared from her Sullivan home at the Center Street Apartments. What was left behind?
Her purse with her apartment keys, her cars, her cards, her medication. Her glasses were on the arm of the couch. That's the thing that really bothers me, is that she didn't go anywhere. She wouldn't even get up off the couch from taking a nap without putting her glasses on.
However, some items were out of the ordinary.
2 boxes of fentanyl patches that were delivered recently, and one of the 2 boxes were missing. She also had an extra $200 in her purse that we can't trace down.
Since then, Miller has been active by passing out flyers.
I just wanted to try and keep her face out there.
Reaching out to every agency to support. In the last few months, the Missouri State Highway Patrol has stepped in to work the case, and she's used Facebook to flag potential tipsters.
It's been nice having people supporting her and praying for her.
There's even a $20,000 reward.
Somebody had to see something. It's too small of a town. People don't just vanish.
While the time has passed, this season also reminds Miller about a fresh start to potentially revive this case.
We probably don't have any chance of getting the good news. I still have to keep on hoping for a miracle. I know they do happen. I know there's a chance.
Betty Alexander would now be 73 years old. She is 4'11" and weighs 145 pounds. She has dark brown hair with blonde highlights and blue eyes. If you happen to have any information, head to our website, KSDK.com, and go to the section As Seen on TV to provide any tips.